they're gonna say, snow day is now just
A remote learning day.
a remote learning day. Probably, now that is not final. Nothing is final. We met one day with the State Department, and if we broke for lunch, it came back and the rules changed from that morning. So we had this plan laid out, and I looked, it was changed, we had this, every day it changes. My plan is to use Friday at 9 a.m., so I'm gonna finish it at 8:30.
I want to wait till 8:45.
I mean, it changes every few minutes. It's so horrible. You can't require math.
5:30, let's get rolling, we got a quorum.
All right. Who is it?
It's recording, Jim?
Okay, all right.
Our vehicle was still at home all the.
You have the minutes, you were sent those, I think, electronically, you have a copy in front of you today. Is there anything that needs to be added, deleted, or changed? If not, I'll accept the motion to accept the minutes as read.
So moved.
I'll need a second. All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Recognition of guests.
I would move down to Miss Lovett. I don't know if she has anything going on after this, but
Okay.
go ahead and go down to girls softball and new business, that's okay?
Okay?
That's okay with you, and that way if she needs to get out of here and we're good, then she can go ahead and
Okay.
give us a little bit of brief synopsis of what she's looking at doing. I think I've talked to most of y'all about it already. I don't see any issue with it, so.
You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if you don't know, I'm Brooke Lovett, and my husband and I, Blake, are over the girls softball league in Pleasant. We've been here, since we were born, and we've been over the league for the last 6 years. At the current, at the present time, we cannot use the high school facilities. There is a light pole down, so therefore there's no electricity to the concession stands, the press box, the field, and so, with that, obstacle in the way, we don't feel like we could produce a season. So we are asking for use of the facilities of the Little League field, with the tentative dates of July 30th to September 30th. We do have liability insurance. I do have a copy of that with me if you need to see that. As far as the fields go, dragging the fields and the maintenance of inside the fence, we would be responsible for dragging the fields, mowing the outfield, buying our own chalk. You know, we're not asking for any financial assistance, one whatsoever. We're just asking for permission to be on the grounds is basically what we're asking for. Before COVID, we had 92 girls sign up to play this summer. So even if COVID hadn't happened, I don't know how I would have produced a season because we would not have had a facility to use. So that's my story.
So basically, I believe, from what I understand, Dixie Youth is over, correct, right now?
Yes.
So I believe they were done, so I don't really, I personally don't see an issue with it, so. Dixie Youth, your two, Barker and Brewers, your two softball fields. And they work with the girls' side that they need anyway.
So
the fence line.
it's July till when?
September 30th.
And you guys will use the concession stand too?
Yes, we would have to pay for my umpires and my bookkeepers. I would have to have a concession.
Any tournament?
Not at the current time, no. We just want to give the children here in this community. That's my first priority. That's what I'm looking to do.
I'll say this too, I just did. So, I mean, I know quite a bit about their group, and they're very organized, and they do a really good job, so I don't.
There wouldn't be anywhere from the youth board or from myself or.
I mean, if we tear it up, we'll fix it, so, you know.
Yeah, they'll take care of it, there's no issue there.
And we had talked about, when, if there's tournaments or things like that, that we would be charged to use fields and things like that, but I think this season, that's none of that's gonna happen, and we're the city benefits from the fact that you maintain the field, if it's on land, so.
And we don't know what's going on with COVID. You may start in July, and the governor may
Right.
everything down, and you never know. You could have another stay-at-home order.
We hope not. Does anybody need it?
Bedford will take that, and that way he'll get it to where it needs to belong to the insurance. Y'all have any discussion? I guess you need to probably take a vote on that.
Okay, we need a motion.
Can't vote.
Motion, Lisa, make a motion to allow.
Make a motion to allow the Harold Buckwalty to use this use
Basically, from
from July 30th to September 30th, with the use of concession stand and maintaining it. Is that covered?
Give me just a second.
Mr. Bedford here has the Parks and Rec phone, so you guys have that number. So if you want to you guys want to contact him next couple of days, we'll work on getting keys and different things like that.
Okay.
To be able to, we'll kind of, I'll work with him next week on that, making sure that we'll have to get some keys made, some more keys made from the David Rock and Key. And that way you guys have keys, any questions you have, I'll run him out there tomorrow and kind of go through everything with him as well.
All in favor?
Sorry. Just got a little on. Alright, we're good. So if you don't want to stay, you don't have to. We're just kind of
You're gonna
talking
miss a lot
stuff.
now.
Okay, we're gonna need to get that to, make sure we have that in file here for insurance.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Splash pad update.
Where we at? Splash pad update. All right, splash pad update. I'm not deaf or anything. Splash pad update, last night at about 8:30 or so, I texted Kate, we are 100% ready to go with splash pad. Everything has been checked off from the state level, just so you know on that. So everything's been uploaded, and they sent Kelly a thing today to be able to have a deed. That's where to check with you, I don't know where that's at.
Well, we filed the deed, it sounds like something needs to be added to the deed.
They've already done that, and I told her to check with you, so I don't have a clue where those go, so.
Okay.
But we're done, and as well as I have called George Brogdon. So in the past, I've told you that I used to have George Brogdon as my Park Paths consultant, I just found out today. And it used to be Daniel Jackson. Daniel Jackson took over this area. Daniel Jackson's area, I just found out today, cuts off in Columbia. So we're back to George Brogdon, which is great as well. Nothing wrong with Daniel, but George has been around a very long time. I've called George and asking him to see if he can come up here maybe sometime next week.
That was, I'm gonna ask you to make sure you guys get
Yes,
together.
so that's a conversation me and George had today, trying to get Bedford on with him. So as far as rolling forward with the inspections and the things that we do, so he's looking at the schedule. They're supposed to be on a no travel thing, but he's trying to get permission from Gerald Parrish
He'll move big room.
to be able to do it. So he's gonna try to come down here sometime next week, so we can, discuss next steps and stuff like that. But next steps are working with the school. We've already started having some meetings with that and trying to roll this thing out. We'll try to order the equipment probably next week, most of that. We've already got everything we need to do, so, but it's 100% checked off. It's been a long time coming. We finally got the date or whatever we were missing on the last thing, or whatever it was, so we're good. Next, so splash pad update will be on there, under unfinished business for a while. So, as we roll forward with it, and again, you've got COVID going on and all this stuff going on with the students, so it's gonna be a challenge. But Bedford's up for the task, and have a splash pad in May or June next year.
What we talked about with the schools the other day when we all met is, we're gonna forge ahead. If the students can't get in, I hate that, but we've gotta continue to go forward, not knowing if they'll be able to be out there on site with us or anything like that. We want them to participate in every facet of it, but we're also just moving right ahead if we can, because it's just way too long.
So at this point, now that everything's approved from the state level, it's just their final inspections to be able to, their inspections as we're going along to get it done. So now, it's on our plate to build a splash pad with what we've been approved with. So everything else is done, so finally.
Kate Finn, the STEM director, and Mike Misswood, our Rotary meeting today, the arts director and STEM director, and Kate seems pretty okay with the fact that they have to do it remotely, just so that they can be a part of it, because it's a big part of their STEM accreditation, so they just want to, even if it's a Zoom where they get to watch what we do or something, they're going to be involved in some shape, form, or fashion. Just maybe not as much hands-on as we hoped from the beginning.
And she basically said this project is one of the reasons they got the STEM
Yeah.
certification from Kate.
So they need to be involved in some shape, form, or fashion, whether or not it's submitting request designs for the third component that we're going to have, the elementary school, I think it's, or middle school.
Middle school.
Middle school. We're going to help design the third component request. And so they'll be involved, it's just maybe not as much as we're still going for.
So just a small, little hurdle.
Okay, the Aramon Eagle project,
Aramon Eagle Scout project. So that is moving ahead as well. I got a little behind on it with, what's his name, with this whole COVID thing going on. So I've actually reached out to another state person, Mr., can't even think of his name, he's on my Facebook. Anyway, he used to be the state trails and guy for the whole entire state. Lots of experience, so he called, I had Dominic call him, he called me last week, and I talked to him for about an hour on the phone, explained him the process, so he's getting with Dominic to come down, and that way he understands where to pull people from to be able to build bridges, understands that stuff a lot more than I do, because I don't have a clue on stuff like that, and he's a state guy, he's retired, and so I've kind of hooked him up with Dominic, so, you know, he's proceeding with that, so that's moving forward.
Air mines have any damage from the Sunday rain?
Not that I saw, I was out there, and of course, the crash pile that we had picked up, that was really the only thing that I
A
saw.
little bit on the left-hand side of the back part of the pavilion, had some mud on it, so you
Yeah.
can tell where it kind of flooded up, but it's so high up now,
Good.
even with those high rains, there's only a little bit of mud that I saw back there.
There was like a big dirt pile out there.
The dirt pile
Friday.
is for something though, I mean,
Yeah.
I have plans for that dirt.
I got that on
Well,
your
it's
business.
probably spread out pretty
Oh, yeah, I
good.
got that.
Great.
Some people had complained that live on South Main about water in the creek that runs behind there and asking if we can clear that out. And I mean, I didn't see, from just my drive-by, that's all I did was drive by. I didn't see that.
The reason a lot of that piles up in there is because, from what I understand from Steve, from years ago, someone decided, this was before you and me were both here, they decided to put that channel in that park,
Yeah,
so it would channel back that way. That, you shouldn't have done that. It
Right.
should be channeled back down through the creek, is where it needs to go. If you walk back there, you'll see that was stupid. I don't know why they did. That's the only reason why a lot of that puddles up in there, because they created a ditch. They made a man-made ditch, and they put that in there.
right, not supposed to do that.
That was kind of dumb. I don't know who did that, but they did. All right, so we're done with that one.
okay,
See,
Wet and Wild Day.
thank you for everybody who came out and participated on that. Pretty decent. The numbers were a little bit lower. I don't know if that's because it was hot. Maybe people are on vacation. Maybe it's because of COVID. I don't know. But, Bedford, do you want to give an update on, it looks like we might try to do another one that's being paid for through somebody that was out there.
The lady's name is Heidi, can't recall her last name right now, she lives close to Donovan Ramsey, and she had mentioned that we had gotten that paid for in a certain fashion, and she said she would be glad to pay for it again for July. For August, sorry. If we weren't going back to school, but it looks like we're going back to school now, so she suggested maybe she would pay for it for a weekend day or something if we could get it, you know. But after talking to Brad, he's pretty booked up on the weekend days. Like for the rest of the hot season, he's got it booked, so I don't know that we'll be able to get it on a weekend day, but
I think if you did it before August 10th, you'd be okay.
I was even thinking, since we don't know when football's gonna be, I don't know what he is on like Thursday and Friday nights. And I know weekends, he's probably pretty booked with birthday
Yeah.
parties and things. But, I mean, 'cause middle school nor high school have a start football date, so like, I don't know if like, especially if we do go back to school, I mean, that might be a good like Thursday evening.
that might be a great idea, Miss.
Thursday evening.
I would be willing to bet if you did it before August 10th, you would be okay.
Yeah, we didn't have the numbers there yesterday, I think 'cause it was so hot.
We had maybe about 30 kids
It
all
was,
at once.
I thought, you know, overall, it was probably a better to, I guess, kind of ramble them all together
Mhm.
number. And they got to
We
go
had a
to
good
know.
time.
Yeah, I mean, the ones that were there had a great time, and it was a lot of fun. I don't know, I just thought maybe since we don't have anything moving
Question
on.
is, did you enjoy the slide?
I did, it was, I got soaking wet, but it was fun.
If we put it out there again, is Misty gonna go down the slide?
Maybe. Maybe. I did go a lot faster than I thought I would.
Well,
It's
just
pretty
bring it
fun.
to Charlie,
Yeah.
we'll have to go.
But, I don't know, I just thought that might be a good,
That's
I mean,
good.
I know that they're probably not having the back-to-school dashes this year.
Probably not.
Kinda just heard that through Jessie and what they have to go and get their letters out and stuff like that, so they're probably not having that back-to-school dash. So that might be something we could do on a, like I said, just we could call it a back-to-school, whatever,
Mhm.
water night or something.
Yeah.
And it's still gonna be
Back to school
hot.
bash.
Yeah, it's still gonna be extremely hot. You might get more, because you have more parents that may be off in the evening. We did do it one time. We had a back-to-school bash, and we had,
What if I was out in the square?
well, we had,
Now, we had one over in
No,
Salem,
I think
in the
it
parking
was
lot.
on the splash pad side.
Yeah, it was on the splash pad side of the parking lot. They had like hot dogs and stuff like that. We had a moon bounce thing slide in there.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was a pretty big deal that night. There was a lot
So you
of
might wanna
people
check with her on that.
Okay.
I mean, if she's.
I got her
on Facebook.
contact information, and if she's willing to give us the money, I think we ought to spend it.
there. Definitely.
I saw some, I think it's Milltown Inflatables or something like that, and they had a deal going, you get it for 3 days for the price of 1 day. So it might be something to check with.
I don't know about 3 days.
If we were doing it, not that, but I'm just saying, like, if we were doing it, then Bradley will do that for us, 'cause he did that for us for Thunder Over Murray, I think is what, or no, for Barbecue Fest. They came and they had them set up for multiple days. He would do that, but I booked on like Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, all the way through
Yeah.
September.
Yeah.
So maybe it's
trying to deal, so maybe they need the business, so maybe they, I looked and they had several big loads, like the one that we had the other day, so I think they're newer. Trying to get the
And I don't know if
business.
that might be something, if we did like a Thursday night, and if we did like maybe one bouncy one, because I mean, not everybody wants to come and get wet.
That's true.
You know, or somebody, they may just be walking by and they don't have the clothes on to come get wet, you know, or they may just be out and about. I don't know. I mean, if
Maybe
it,
still do a slide so that they're not contained in that.
yeah.
The bounce house, I don't know about everybody being in.
No, I just meant like
But
not
if
a
we do one dry one wet.
a non-wet one, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He has a non-wet slide. I mean, it's a water slide, you just don't pick the water up to it.
The water's great, I mean, I think especially for this time of year, and the kids love it, but
All the dry slides, I think they have a bouncy house on it that slides out of
Slides
it.
into it.
Yeah.
yeah.
I guess we just have to maybe watch, see how many's in there at a time. That might be the thing, to be enclosed.
So they all
That
got
might
it
be
at the top of at the slide. There's like, all 30 kids that were there were at
Yeah,
the
they
top of
were.
the slide at one
Those
time or
parents are
another.
not worried about it then.
They're not worried about it.
Might as well know.
All right, Columbia Legion.
Columbia Legion Baseball, so, originally I thought that one of them might have been here, but they might have gotten busy. So, Columbia Legion Baseball Group is asking to use Howard Field, just for some practices, maybe a game. The people that run that is Mr. Lee Williams is on that, as well as I think Macy is on that with them. Pretty active, I follow their Facebook.
Actually, American Legion.
American.
Yeah, I follow their Facebook stuff. They seem like they're a pretty organized group. They're asking to be able to go out there and use the area and mow the grass. If you know anything about Lee Williams, he posts pictures all the time about his strikes and stuff, so obviously he's a pretty good landscaper. I was talking to Bedford about that this morning, and I said, me personally, I would vote for it because it's going to do something to the field, it's going to clean it up, and he's a landscaper, he knows what he's doing. And also, Lee also works for Franklin Parks and Recreation, and he's one of their big landscape turf management specialists or something for the Parks and Recreation Department out there, I believe. So, he's always posting pictures and stuff, so.
Is there a certain age, is he doing just the high school kids, or is he doing the little kids too?
I think right now I just want to use it for some practice and maybe some games in the future. It'd be great to have games.
Macy has the younger one, like middle school age, and then Lee has like...
Yes, they
the
have,
high
there's two different
school.
divisions, and he just posted tonight something about they're getting ready to sign ups again for
Hurry up.
11 to 18-year-olds, or 11 to 19-year-olds. So I think you can get a pretty decent group going on out there. they know what they're doing, and you got some people who know how to manage
Well,
that.
I mean, I just ask, because when somebody asks, I want to be able to give them the right information. If I was to say it, if I say American Legion, they're gonna think like high school kids, but then they see little kids out there.
No, Macy's has the, like, middle school age kids,
middle
and
school,
then...
high school.
And most of the kids are from this area, Hampshire,
They're all county, all throughout the county.
they're all from the county, but there are a lot of kids that are from this area, I know that, so.
The field just needs to really be used. I mean, that's...
And the cool thing is when you see people out there playing baseball, the people that come out there to watch baseball, they don't even have a kid playing.
Right.
And we saw that last year, so concession stand's done, Boy Scout hut is in the middle of, still being worked on, I showed them that today.
Nice park.
So, I think you could do a lot with it, so, I'd say take a vote on it.
And has he submitted a request in writing?
Originally, he talked about being here, that he was gonna try to be here, and I haven't heard anything from him. So I can get him to submit that and then send it out to everybody if I need to.
I think you need to have a paper trail, especially if they're gonna vote on something.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, we need to really know like specifics. I mean,
That they have insurance, that they have, I mean,
I'm
they need
sure
to
he does, but just we need
Yeah.
to
Okay.
make sure.
So I'll send him I'll
Well, we
send
can
that.
vote pending
Yep.
the appropriate paperwork.
His
We need
text
to-
to me says 13 through 17 years old.
13 years.
It's trial, but he's having, I'm looking at the whole thing, so I can keep posted on.
I'll send him a text, I'll call him, so it's not a big deal.
Get y'all some paperwork.
But I know he's got insurance and all that. He told me he's got all that stuff lined up.
Well, he's using Spring Hill High School for their tryouts, and
Yes.
so he's got to have, I mean,
Yeah.
the county's a lot more of a stickler than we would
Yeah, he
be.
seems pretty organized, so I would say he's legit.
So why don't we make a motion to allow them to use the field pending appropriate paperwork filed with the city?
Okay, are we gonna charge them anything, or just upkeep of the bill?
We talked about that.
We talked
and
about that.
I don't know if you guys remember, but we started the Babe Ruth League there 2 summers ago, and we played 2 games, and then the rain kept us from ever playing again, and there were a lot of parents that were unhappy because they paid $100, and he's gonna fix that field.
I mean, I just
think
think
we
something
should-
in my.
Yeah, I think it's so much to the city's benefit
Yeah.
that
I agree.
we shouldn't.
And I think the same thing with the girls softball this first year, we're trying to roll that out because of COVID and all the stuff that's going on. I say, let's see what they do this year, and if we can work that in for the future too. That's me personally, so I'd say wait a minute.
Do we charge the Dixie Youth?
The what now?
Do we charge the Dixie Youth anything?
$10 per kid.
The players paid it.
Yeah. That's in with the entry fee. That's why we had to go up from $50 to
That's what I was
$60.
thinking, I couldn't remember.
And we didn't do Dixie Youth this year either because the season was so short. That's why I didn't push to get the $10 a head for that, because their season kind of started and then kids were dropping, and then the season was, what, a couple weeks long? So,
And
that's why
that-
we didn't push that.
And that may be something we need to put in our response back this year, because we didn't charge them, we're not charging, we're not gonna charge you, but there will be. in
That's the normal
fut-
procedure, yeah.
In the future, you will have to pay $10 a kid.
Yep.
I'll get somebody to make that motion.
I'll make it, whatever you want me to say.
Here's what I said, motion to allow the Columbia Legion Baseball with Lee Williams to use Howard's pending appropriate paperwork filed with the city.
And I guess we probably need to add on there, no charging, no fee this year.
Well, that would be with the appropriate
Okay,
paperwork.
perfect, yeah.
I need somebody.
And we'll have it somewhere in writing.
Okay.
Need somebody to second that. All in favor?
He apologized, he forgot about the meeting.
So it's just one of those things, we don't ever want anybody to come back and say,
You charged us and not
us
them.
and not you, and, then that's favoritism, and, this is gonna hold people in.
All right. Howard Field?
That was it, so knock that off. I've got something else to go in place of that. So for D, we're gonna have Aero Mines. So recently, we've noticed, and we're having a little bit of issues over there at Aero Mines Park right now, because we got a nice pavilion out there, and there are groups that are not really renting it. They don't, nobody rents those anyway, but not reserving it, so they're out there, and they made I called Todd, he hasn't called me back yet. He was off yesterday or whatever, but they're burning out there, so they're having bonfires or something. It was a mess. They had to go out there and clean it yesterday. So my recommendation for that is if you're allowed to have a fire pit type thing in the park, you can go to Triple C, they got this nice big round thing, it's about 50 or 60 bucks, and tell them to contain it in there. There's also obviously some drinking going on out there, you're not supposed to be drinking in the parks, from what I understand, so that's what I thought the ordinance was. So we'll need to put some signs down there ASAP, and just remind them that. The good thing is they are using the pavilion. They even bring out some nice smoker grills and stuff like that.
Still there today.
But having fire down there without a fire ring, I kind of have an issue with that, so.
I would have the fire department help if they,
Yeah, we're waiting on notification.
We're waiting on notification from fire.
Seems to be some kind of question about whether you can burn within
A mile and a half.
a mile and a half of a state highway, which 43, you mean is,
We've already checked into it, so I'm asking them if we're allowed to have it, otherwise we need to ban having it as one. But they're doing it right now, and so I've already notified Michael and them, and then, to kind of check on that.
So if it's okay, are we gonna provide the pit? Is that something that we want to?
well, that's what we're discussing. If they're going to burn out there and it's okay to burn out there, then if we don't put the ring, then it's not
And then
containable.
if we tell them to bring their own, it could be all over the place.
That's right.
We have
So
no
I'm gonna
idea.
have one
That's what the
specific
problem
burn
is right
area.
now, 'cause it's only like 7 or 8 feet off from the pavilion itself.
Yeah.
If-
Triple C
if-
has a nice
Yes,
ring.
exactly.
If they are going to burn out there, if it gets approved to do so, where we put the fire rings needs to be the only place for that.
Yes, I agree. It needs to be substantially away from the pavilion so that there's
Not right off the backhand corner of it where they go.
No, just off of it.
And most of the stuff that was in the burn hole was like beer bottles and beer cans and trash. It was like they were burning the trash from the party.
So, we need to go out there and scoop it up.
And I will say this, because Thomas knows about this, we've already come into like a little bit of an issue. We need to really make sure that people, and that may be just some temporary signage that we put out there about the fact that if a pavilion is reserved, those people have the spot first. We had something reserved for something at school and it had my name on it, and people who've been using Aero Mines in the past were like, well, we already have something planned here. So I just feel like we need to try to push that on Facebook too, that if there is a policy or a procedure. that-
And usually we're putting up a sign.
Well,
at the-
we had a sign, and they saw my name, so they were like, Ms. Crams, what is this? It was just some of my former kids, and they're like, we've had this planned. I said, no, we've
It's
had
the
this
people
planned.
that live
for-"
down there that are wanting to use it every
Yeah,
weekend,
and that's,
so we've had to really
and
put
that's
signs
fine,
up.
I mean, because again, they've been using it for years when it was not much of anything. We need to make sure they know what to do, what the procedures are.
So that they could reserve it.
Yes, and that's what I said. I said, if you want it for 2 months from now on a Saturday, reserve it today.
I
Put
think
your name on
most
it.
of this is gonna get resolved whenever we have some decent signage of the
Yes.
parks.
I mean, and
that's
I'm
where we
not
really
saying
need
we have to
focus
have
moving forward to get the signs
permanent
up.
signs down there for that, but I do, and there may even need to be some flyers handed out in that area.
Now that there is more pavilion rentals, I feel like it's time to really implement a system, maybe a form that is dedicated just to the pavilion rentals as opposed to using that packet that I have for the
Yeah.
community center. And that way, it both leaves the paper trail, and then I can put something out on social media that kind of has our regulations. I updated our community center Facebook page that under the about, it actually lists our rates and things like that. So that's something we can put together and we can put out and circulate. So hopefully that will help solve that issue a little bit.
And I do think if we just do some kind of simple flyers, just to kind of get the word out.
I agree.
I mean, just something cheap, and it don't have to be the whole, and then maybe maybe we can send a city text, so they just kind of know, we want you to use it, it's here, it's available,
But reserve it.
but reserve it, even if it's, I mean, and there's no cost, just that.
Columbia, there's a cost.
Yes,
Sure.
like, we were gonna, the teacher, when we reserved this one, she wanted to do Green Springs, and I said, well, that's in Murray County Park, that's gonna cost you $25, $35, $45, we have this park available, so.
Yeah, we can definitely get most of that resolved if they can decent signage. And, like you said, still, that's the biggest problem within our whole community is communication. Letting everybody know. But we'll get the word out.
Work in progress.
Work for us.
I got one last thing.
Okay?
My last thing, and this is my last meeting, so I just want to say thank you to all y'all. Bedford Smith has been elected as your new Parks and Recreation Director. I've been working with him this week, I'm working with him next week, and you know, we've come a long way. I think, again, I've said this already once, but we've come a long way, and lots of new things we can do, and me and Bedford have talked today about new ideas and, you know, how to kind of really work with alliances, and those alliances we talked about today are trying to crash down those bridges that have always been around as far as being able to work with Murray County Parks and Rec, Columbia Parks and Rec, and Spring Hill, and, you know, all that good type of stuff, and a lot of that will come about with Thunder, so I think, we've made a long haul process. You guys have been great. I talk to the state about you guys all the time, how we got a great parks board here and all that, so thank y'all for what y'all have done for me. It's been great. It's been fun. I'm sorry, but it was time to, this was a really good opportunity. It was kind of hard to pass up, so.
I think between your efforts and the board's efforts together, you guys have accomplished quite a bit in 4 years.
I just hope we can continue to do that even in Thomas's absence. That was the reason I most wanted this job. I feel like we've worked so hard these last 4 years, and it was devastating to me, the first off, that you were leaving. The secondly, that it might not continue on. You know, that we just might just fizzle away, you know, and I can't stand that thought. It's gotta finish the splash pad, gotta finish our momentum, guys. Let's keep going.
And just remember this next year, you know, it is a tough year. You know, me and Bedford, we've combed through that budget, and I showed them where the money's at for different things for this year. And it's a challenging year, and just remember that. Last year was a little different. We moved a lot more money into the splash pad for this year. So remember that when we're trying to do infrastructure type stuff. I mean, with this COVID thing, it was tough, and he saw that as we went through the budget. He approved it, but it was tough as we were going through it, and trying to, you know, the things we want to do, you know, moving forward. This is a different year, and everybody's in a different challenge, and, you know, so, but we made good progress. Like I said, I've already contacted the state. I'd like to try to get them down here and be able to, you know, meet with him before I leave, and just try to get him as much support as I can to be able to continue on this process. So thank y'all.
Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
What about, so I guess this is Bedford's last official
No, he
meeting.
resigned already. He can't be a city employee and
So can we continue without having a representative from the commission?
I think they'll probably appoint one next Tuesday.
Okay. No.
I just want to say, Thomas, I appreciate what you have done and said too. As a member, camp member, way back when we first started, we couldn't get a laser off.
That's pretty bad.
You just don't know how bad it was. Larry and I we would come to meetings after meetings, and we even one time collected money from the people sitting out here at a city commission meeting to purchase chalk and stuff for the field. Because there was no support, at all. And the parks were broken down and grown up, and, you know, we spent, there may be some more of you that were along the time that we cleaned up Gardenia Park, but it had overgrown. We spent days out there picking up and carrying stuff and clearing it off, and
Measuring it.
a long time, but,
Take all the broken limbs up in a pile out there today.
Yeah, from the,
so, you know, but with Thomas is, he kind of lit a fire under us too, and helped us to see, hey, we can actually do this, and went to, you know, battle for it. So we didn't have that before. We would go and they'd be like, oh God, here comes the parks group. That's what they would do. But Thomas could.
that's how they react to seeing Thomas.
But Thomas is But they would only see us once a month, and it was easy to put us off once a month. They see you every day, so they
Just say
can't
several
put you
times a day,
off.
probably.
Yeah. So, you know, I appreciate that you hung in there with us, and
You're welcome. It's been fun. It's been a good reign.
we're gonna miss you.
So support Bedford, and, you know, move it forward and get that daggone splash pad done. Good
And if
night.
you're not too scared of, with social distancing, when we adjourn tonight, I'd like to get a group picture
That'd be great.
of all of us in Thomas. So after we adjourn, if y'all don't mind, I'd like to do
Probably need to
that.
step outside and do that.
Yeah. So we don't we could do it on the steps out front.
All right, I got one thing too, just from last time. We talked about, I'm not sure I talked about this. We talked about like maybe coming up with some dates or some times to start working on the strategic plan in the beginning of the year. So, I mean, I know last time we would do like, we met twice a month, I think. One of those times was like right before the meeting that we had, and then I think we met like 2 weeks later. I don't know if that still works for everybody, if Wednesdays are still good. Another day of the week would be better, but.
And we decided that it was finalized in 2017, right?
Mhm.
So,
So I think if we start in January, that should give
yeah,
us.
'cause it's a 5-year plan, so you're just updating your
Yeah.
5-year plan.
And I mean, I don't know if we want to start with start in January, just come maybe an out, you know, come at 5, everybody can come at 5, and then maybe we can go to 6, and then have our meeting from 6 to 6:45, and just see where we get in an hour.
Well, I think we definitely need to consider what day works best for y'all.
Yeah, whatever
Okay,
day works
whatever
best for
day.
everybody, I think we need it. I mean, I think it was just easier for a lot of people to come early on a day we're already
Planning on coming?
planning on coming.
I
And the
agree with
first
that.
part of it is just kind of review the plan and where
Where we're
we
at.
gotten, yeah.
And I will say one thing that worked really good that Donna did last time is she brought those big boards, those like
Yeah.
I mean, I just think those.
I'm
were
sure
really-
she helped facilitate too.
Yeah, it was just good to visually.
Y'all give me a
see.
date when y'all like to meet and start this, where we could all be here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be here.
Hopefully the beginning of 2021.
I mean, if
Yeah.
we started then, and then we could, if we needed to do 2 times a month, or we
Okay.
think maybe in January,
And I'll talk to Donna and I'll get at least her
see what she
whiteboard.
thinks too, yeah. If she thinks that's too early, too late,
Okay.
and maybe by next month, if she thinks we need to start
Okay.
right away, or if she thinks January's too early.
I want to say that we started in January.
I'm pretty
'cause
positive we
It was
did,
after
too.
the holidays.
It was.
Yeah. And there were no seasons going on, so everybody was available.
Yeah, I think January's a good time to do this, so I think we ought to go ahead and plan on that, and I'll get with Donna and let her get with us on January. Yep.
Is 5 too early for anybody? Did you give your own 5 on a Wednesday?
I think that's what we did.
I think we did,
got
too.
here at 5.
I'm good with that.
And since we already, back then, we didn't even have a plan.
Yeah.
So at least now we have a plan, we're not having to
You got a
start
good
from
base.
scratch.
And I have a physical copy, but I don't know how many other people actually have a physical copy.
If you
I
don't,
have a
let me know.
physical copy and we'll make sure we make plans.
Yeah, if you don't
Yeah.
have one, let me know, I can get you one.
That way we can kind of write on them and, you know, just,
I'll get you one.
maybe if you could make everyone just like, I mean, I have mine, but I'd like to kind of keep it
Okay.
nice and neat and not all written on. But I will if you need me to.
And, whenever we put that together, we could probably just say we need 10 more.
Okay.
And I don't think they have to
a
be
few
bound
that's
either.
Right now.
No, they don't have to be
See, I mean,
bound.
And I actually think it may be better if they're not bound, because
So we
then
Yeah.
you
flip
can
back and, yeah.
just flip them.
Well, then like I said, I have a couple at the center right now, I can unbind one and we can
You
make our
just
own
need
copy, can we?
Yes, I think just copies.
That'd
I
be
think
good.
I have it scanned in, I think I could make copies of this tomorrow.
Oh, okay, even easier.
Yeah, you can just get them some copies to kind of write on. and-
All right. I'll make sure y'all get one.
Okay, anything else? If not, a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
So, Lindsay and Larry.
All in favor, get out of here.
And the stop button.
Okay, so this, are we off the record? Are we off?
We're off. Yeah.
Okay, so Cedric's gonna run for commissioner, and Cedric's gonna get commissioner. So we need to also be brainstorming somebody to take Cedric's spot. Because he can't, I mean, I'm sure hopefully he'll be our new, maybe, if the, okay, this is another off the thing. Okay, so if they appointed somebody on Tuesday, and then Cedric gets, when he gets commissioner in whenever, November, January, can we request to have Cedric?
Yes, you can. So,
Okay.
the discussion at the June meeting was appointing Ms. Granberry. And that was because, she had said she wasn't running again for commissioner,
Mm-hmm.
and we knew that she wanted to be on parks, and that was August, September, October.
We can do it.
She's picked up a package to run for commissioner now, though.
Okay, don't do that.
I'm not sure what. I want you to be aware that was the discussion.
I talked to Jackie for several hours after Wet and Wild, and she seems very willing to work with me on helping me out with stuff regarding your part.
Mhm.
I mean, she's definitely willing to participate, whichever context I think we need her to.
Yeah.
So her seat would be up, and if he runs and he is elected elected, does that put the seat up in the park?
I need to look and
I
see
guess
what
that's
the
what I'm
terms are,
asking, you
yeah.
know, like, if,
That's how it happened whenever Dolores and I were both there, remember, when
But
I
you
became
were both
commissioner, she
elected.
shut
Yeah.
down from Parks and Rec, 'cause we could only have.
That was her choice.
That was her
Okay.
I'm just saying, that will not be her choice. She will not step down.
Right, so then
So
it
it-
becomes,
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess, what your recommendation.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of my question, like,
I don't know that there's a rule that says there can't be two commissioners on a
But
board.
there's terms, so if the term's up, then there has to be another appointment.
okay,
If they lock in,
Is there a term for Parks and Rec?
yes,
What's our term?
I don't know, I'm the,
It's like 2 years, I
2 years.
think. We
I don't know,
updated,
but I've been here 25.
I've updated her a couple months ago. Misty was updated, and I think you were, right? Didn't we do 3 of y'all
Yeah,
just
we were
recently?
all-
Uh-huh, at the very beginning.
Yeah, we just did some in January, I updated all 3 of them.
Yeah, Larry and I've been here since the beginning,
25 years on Parks and
just
Rec.
about, yeah.
That's a haul.
And they got approved by commission when we said that those 3 wanted to be still on board, and commission agreed. So I think it's like every 2 years you got 3, and every 2 years you got 2 more or 3 more.
Well, I'll work, but when they decide they don't want me, I won't want to go into the house. Hadn't happened yet.
I'm probably gonna have to get a better answer for you. So Bedford's term did not expire until December of 2022.
Oh, no.
But, he comes off as commissioner. Cedric doesn't expire until January of 2022, so if he's elected, I have a feeling that the commission needs to, we have 4 commissioners up for election in November. I have a feeling they're gonna have to reappoint. That's my gut feeling, but I'll talk to the city attorney on
okay.
that.
I guess I just don't want to put us kind of like, right between a rock and a hard place, and,
be locked in.
yeah, I mean.
When the election happens.
I mean, I guess this is the thing, if she comes in here for the next 4 months, she's wonderful to work with, that's one thing, but odds are, we all know,
It's not the.
it's not gonna be, and I mean, I've
I
taught.
have high hopes though, guys, I
I
really
mean,
do.
I've taught her grandkids, and
That she's gonna, I mean, the conversations we had at the center yesterday were really good.
Well,
I mean,
I'm just gonna be honest, we've had good conversations too, and then they turned.
yeah, I guess that's the thing, we've kind of dealt with her before and all
I have
different
not,
things.
so,
Yeah, she can,
So-
you know,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm the new guy here, I guess, still, you know what I mean, but,
she can melt sugar or she can.
what do you think, Larry? With Jackie? I thought you had to say amount.
Does that answer your question? That speaks volumes, me and thanks.
Hang on, wait, Mr. Larry. I'm all ears, bro.
That's funny.
We have dealt with that.
and I know she's been kind of harsh on me a couple of times as a commissioner, I mean, we've had some heated situations, you
That's
know,
nothing.
and, but it's kind of been, I don't, a project of mine, but I wanted Jackie and I to have a relationship that was better, you know, and I've been trying really hard.
I really think that the plan is to appoint her to fulfill,
Till,
to the
till
election.
If that's the word of it, I think
Yes,
we could tolerate.
that would be great.
That's the wording, can that be in there, because that's like just about the wording.
I just have to run it by Corey.
yeah. Okay, so who, I guess this is like not even, but I just want to know, who's not up for reelection?
Mike Davis is the only one that is not up for,
Oh, wow. Okay.
so you've had, Cedric has picked up a packet, Ms. Granberry's picked up a packet, Monia Hunter has picked up a packet,
Oh,
Bill White has picked up a packet, and Eric Harvey has picked up a packet.
oh, yeah, Eric, I love Eric.
Eric's gonna be great.
Mhm.
I would imagine that Eric will be appointed in Bedford's spot on Tuesday night.
Okay. Can we get him?
Hmm?
Can we get him? Can he be on Parks and Rec? Okay, I can do it, hey, I've taught her kids
So
for
I have
4
to
years in
So if
science.
Ms. Granberry gets reelected and Cedric gets elected, are we allowed to have them both on the Park and Rec, or?
Nope,
No.
that was the problem with,
Says-
So do we need to go ahead and think of somebody that could fulfill one of their
I think you
spots?
always need to have some people that you know are interested. We're having that problem with planning, we're losing a really good member because they're moving, and like, you always need to have that next person.
Well, I have a question too. Is this the largest the board needs to be or can be? Or,
I think we have to have this number
By the charter that we
Yeah, I
have,
think it was, it can go up to 9.
okay.
I
Should we
think,
go
it's
down
just
to
7,
5?
right? It's 7?
it's 7 right now.
Yeah, we had to pull those bylaws.
It's
I
7
remember,
tonight.
I mean, it's been a couple of years since I've read those, but I thought that the board at the time chose 7. I think you had the ability of 5 to 9.
We do.
But we need to check that, make sure my memory's right on that.
I mean, if we just got some gun-ho people.
9's a pretty big group of
Yeah,
people
that is
to
a
deal
big
with, though.
It's hard, it was hard to get a quorum.
Yeah,
Okay.
I get
Yeah,
that.
that's a
That
big,
was the reason we went to 7.
that makes sense.
Because at one time we had 12,
Oh, Lord.
and it was hard then, but then we went to 9, and then they changed the wording. Back when we first started, there were 12 of us. And it was, we went sometimes 8 months before we get a quorum.
Yeah, that's too big of a group.
Right. So I think that's why we went to 7.
So maybe we'll get some answers on that. We need to figure out the appointment and then actually, how many you can have on this group. I think you can go down to 5 even, but not that you want to.
No.
So we need to think about it anyway, Cedric is, we need to make our information, we still need a person.
I was hoping we'd have
We know.
4 run for 4 slots.
Yeah.
Nobody needs to buy a sign.
And I will say this, I mean, I don't live in the city, but when Ricky Frazier was running, I'll never forget this, so just this word of advice to all your people that support you. He won one year literally by 3 votes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, if I had not been...
Well, you usually only have 300
If I had
voters.
not been standing there to see, I would have, nobody could have made me ever believe that. He literally won by, I was like, if somebody, like the family decided to go out to dinner that day and forgot to go vote,
Mhm.
whoever, he would have killed off.
Yep, absolutely.
I don't know, like that just still to this day shocks me.
We
Being
just-
5,000 people in the city and
Mhm.
300, 400 people vote and he
We just
won
need
by
to
30.
make sure that whatever happens, happens for the best interest of the party. We don't need to have to go backwards a few months in dealing
Having
with-
4 of 5 up is very nerve-wracking.
Right.
Because they have till August 21st to submit petitions, and we could have 12.